All right, shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Yaina Yisrael with an edition of the Yehudah Project on the Sabbath day. We welcome you to our study group and to learn with us as we come together to congregate on the Sabbath day. This particular topic that we're dealing with today is something that I really felt it was necessary to go over because of some things that I feel like that we're lacking. And when I say we, I mean some of the groups and some of the Christians especially. Now, one thing I want to say about being a Christian, because I still believe in Christ, and that has not changed. However, the things sometimes that we expect them to see, they cannot see. The aha moment or the epiphany that we expect them to have, they probably will not have it at the information that we're giving. Because this is something that has to be revealed. It's something that has to be revealed depending on how fast or slow the Most High reveals it, depends on the individual. It is amazing how the Most High can hide things right in front of your face, plain sight, and you never get it. It never comes, you never get it, you don't understand it, it doesn't click. But there are things that are historical that I feel like is just simple ABC 1, 2, 3. So the one thing that I want to deal with today is the Messiah. Because those who believe in the Messiah, they have to come to understand one thing about nationality. And I hear a lot of people say, well, nationality has nothing to do with salvation. I beg to differ. And the reason why I beg to differ is because in terms of salvation, there is a protocol. There is a protocol with salvation that we all must be able to adhere to. And that protocol has everything to do with nationality. So I wanted to be able to get into that. Now, while I was putting this message together, I found myself going in a whole nother different direction. So I want to get into this, and please feel free to ask questions or give a comment if you have one. This is something that I came upon, and I will cite my source, that talk about the Black Hebrew Israelites. This is what's generating over the internet. They call it the BHI, which is the Black Hebrew Israelites. It says the BHI groups tend to define an Israelite as a descendant of the biblical patriarch Jacob, a Hebrew Israelite as the modern descendants of the ancient Israelites, and a Jew as a person who practices the religion of Judaism. I'm just going to read what they have, and you comment. Many BHIs, which is Black Hebrew Israelite groups, do not consider Jews to be true descendants of the Hebrew Israelite. However, they also do not consider all people of color to be part of the lost tribe either. That's what they say. As one Black Hebrew Israelite website explains, Israel is just one black nation that exists among many. The Egyptians, the Canaanites, the Ethiopians, the Babylonians, etc., were black-skinned but were not Israelites. To say all black-skinned people are Israelites is like saying all Asians are Chinese or all Europeans are French. BHIs, Black Hebrew Israelites, also believe that the transatlantic slave trade was prophesied in Deuteronomy 28:68. And he's talking about Kendrick Lamar, makes reference to this belief in his lyrics. And Deuteronomy says that we all been cursed, which accounts for why so many Hebrew Israelites are found in America. Now, this is my source. It is www.thegospelcoalition.org. 9 things you should know about the black Hebrew Israelite. Now, I didn't put all 9 down. This is just one of the 9 that they had out there. What do you guys think about this? Now, this is the church talking. I'll go back over it again and kind of go over some of the points, and we'll say yes or no. How about that? Here we go.
Okay.
The black Hebrew Israelite group tends to define an Israelite as a descendant of the biblical patriarch Jacob, a Hebrew Israelite as the modern descendants of the ancient Israelites. Is that right?
That's right.
So that is correct, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
And it says, and a Jew as a person who practices the religion of Judaism. Is that true or false?
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
I can go that way, yes.
No.
Some people say yes, some people say no. Do we practice the religion of Judaism?
No.
No, we don't. No.
Okay, so that's no. It says many black Hebrew Israelite groups do not consider Jews to be true descendants of the Hebrew Israelites. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Not the
well,
Jews in Israel, no.
not a Jewish.
Right, they mean Jewish people.
Right.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, they also do not consider all people of color to be part of the lost tribe either.
True.
That's true.
That's a yes.
So both of those things are true. We do not consider Jewish people to be Hebrew Israelites, and we know that all people of color are not Israelites, Hebrew Israelites. Now watch. It says Israel is just one black nation that exists among many. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. It says the Egyptian, Canaanites, Ethiopians, and Babylonians are black-skinned people, but they're not Israelites. True or false?
True.
That's true. Okay. Now, to say all black-skinned people are Israelites is like saying all Asians are Chinese or all Europeans are French. Is that true?
True.
True.
That's right. That's true. So a lot of things, it says black Hebrew Israelites also believe that the transatlantic slave trade was prophesied in Deuteronomy 28:68. Is that true?
True.
Yeah.
And that Deuteronomy says that we've all been cursed, which accounts for why so many Israelites are found in America. Is that true?
True. True.
That's true. So all of the things that 99% of the things that they wrote are true. Now, my question is, if they know these things, why is it difficult for them to see it?
Because it cuts them out of the equation, cuts them out of the
Your
story.
eyes are closed.
They still believe they're Gentiles.
Because the Catholic Church rules the world.
Right. Their eyes are closed. It cuts them out of the equation. The Catholic Church rules the world, and they believe that they're Gentiles.
Because that's what they were taught.
That's what they were. That is so very true. That's why, from another perspective, I'm going to come from a different perspective this time. I started with the Old Testament prophets because I say all the time that every Old Testament prophet was a Hebrew Israelite by nationality. By nationality. So we're going to start with the Old Testament prophets. We're going to start with Jeremiah. It says Jeremiah was a Levite. You guys might want to write these down. Jeremiah was a Levite, which means he was from the tribe of Levi. And Levi was one of the sons of Jacob. So for you all who are new, Jacob had 12 sons. And those 12 sons represent the 12 tribes of Israel. That's how we come up with the 12 tribes of Israel. They're Jacob's 12 sons. It says Jeremiah was born in a priestly family in the town of Anathoth, belonging to the tribe of Benjamin. His father was the prophet Kohen Gadol, high priest Hilkiah. So even though he was a Levite, he lived in a city belonging to the tribe of Benjamin. Why did the Levites live in different cities belonging to the other tribes?
Because they were the priestly tribe.
And
they didn't have a land inheritance.
They did
the ceremonies. The ceremonies came from them.
And the sacrifices had to come. They had to do the sacrifices in every area.
Absolutely.
Right.
So when the Most High the land of Canaan, he did not give the Levi tribe a land inheritance. So they divvied themselves up to live in the different cities belonging to the different tribes so that they could be there to offer up the sacrifices. See. Jeremiah began his prophecies in the 13th year of King Josiah's reign in the year 3298. The prophet Zephaniah and the prophetess Yehudah also lived at that time. So Jeremiah was a Levite. Isaiah was from the tribe of Yehudah, or Judah, as they say in the church. It says, Isaiah 1:1, the vision concerning Judah and Jerusalem that Isaiah, son of Amos, saw during the reign of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, king of Judah. We know he is the son of Amos, but we don't know who that was. We also know that he lived during the reign of 4 kings. The first, Uzziah, reigned from around 783 BC to 742 BC. The last king, Hezekiah, reigned from 715 BC to 686 BC. It says, while we don't know who Isaiah's father Amos is, some scholars speculate that Isaiah was a member of the royal family since he had easy access to the kings. At times, Isaiah spoke directly to the kings. See Isaiah 7:3, 38, 1 through 22. Other times, he directly quotes the words of the kings in Isaiah 7. The book of 2 Kings also supports Isaiah's close association with Israel's kings. And what they're saying is everyone couldn't just walk up to the king. They had specific protocols that made it necessary for you to be a part of the royal family if you had access to the king, unless you were a servant. And then we reference 2 Kings chapter 19. It says, and it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Most High. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet of the son of Amos. And they said unto him, thus saith Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and blasphemy, for the children are come to the birth, and there's not strength to bring forth. It may be the Most High thy Elohim will hear all the words of Rashaka, whom the king of Assyria his master has sent to reproach the living Elohim, and will reprove the words which the Most High thy Elohim hath heard. Wherefore lift up thy prayer, remnant that are left. So the servant of the king Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, thus shall ye say to your master, thus saith the Most High, be not afraid of the words which thou hast heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria has blasphemed me. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he will hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. That's what. So they say that Isaiah was from the tribe of Yehudah. Ezekiel was a Levite. It says, before the first surrender of Jerusalem. Why am I saying all this, Shaina? Because we need to know that every prophet in the Old Testament was of the tribe, was of the children of Israel. Before the first surrender of Jerusalem, Ezekiel was a functioning priest, probably attached to Jerusalem temple staff. Ezekiel's ministry was conducted in Jerusalem and Babylon in the first 3 decades of the 6th century BC. For Ezekiel and his people, these years were bitter ones because of the remnants of the Israelites' domain. The little state of Yehudah was eliminated by the rising Babylonian Empire under Nebuchadnezzar, reigning 605 to 562 BC. Jerusalem surrendered in 597 BC. Israelite resistance was nevertheless renewed, and in 587 and 586, the city was destroyed after a lengthy siege. In both debacles, and indeed again in 582, large numbers from the best element of the surviving population was forcibly deported to Babylonia. Any questions so far? Here we go. Daniel, from the tribe of Yehudah. The book of Daniel is a narrative woven with mystery and prophecy concerning cryptic descriptions of future events, mystical interpretations of profound visions about the Mashiach, and the revival of the dead in the end of days. In Daniel chapter 1, in the 3rd year of the reign of Joachim, king of Yehudah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Most High gave Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, into his hand, with parts of the vessel of the house of Yah, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. He brought the vessel into the treasure of the house of his God. And the king spake unto Aspenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, and children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom, and in cunning knowledge, and in understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Yehudah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So Daniel was from Yehudah. He was one of the children of Yehudah. Any questions so far? Let's keep going. It says, now this is an error that they made. Now this is what I found to be very interesting. That's why you have to know your word. Because when I went into Google to find out, to be able to validate this, they made Daniel be one of the sons of David. And when I first read it, I was like, King David? King David was way gone by the time the children of Israel were besieged and went into Babylon. He was dead for years and years. But this is where they went to. They went to 1 Chronicles chapter 3. And it says, now these were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron. The firstborn Ammon of Ahinoam the Jezreelite, and the second Daniel of Abigail the Carmelitess. So King David had a son named Daniel, but it wasn't the one that wrote the book. I just put that in there to show you that you have to be careful with how some of these evangelicals of the other nations interpret the word, because this is totally in error. Okay? And we're going to go. Now we're going to deal with the 12. Anybody have any questions before we keep going? Because I'm going somewhere with this. We're going to deal with the 12 minor prophets. Anybody? Okay, let's keep going. We're going to get through this real quick. Hosea from the tribe of Yehudah. It says, the word of the Most High came unto Hosea, the son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Yehudah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. It says the tribe of Yehudah. He may have lived sometime between the reign of Joash before 850 BC and return of the tribe of Yehudah from the captivity in Babylon. So Joel was from the tribe of Yehudah. Let me keep going. I don't want to go through that. Amos was from the tribe of Yehudah. Let's see. Obadiah was from the tribe of Levi. He was a Levite. Let me keep going. He was the son of Shemaiah. A member of the tribe of Levi named Obadiah was a part of the group of the Jews who returned to Jerusalem after the Babylonian captivity. So he was a part of the Levi tribe. Jonah. There's not a lot about Jonah other than Jonah was from Zebulun. Jonah was no stranger to Yah's call when Yah spoke to him and sent him to Nineveh. Jonah was a prophet to the king of Israel, Jeroboam II, in 2 Kings 14:25. It says historians place Jeroboam II as a king near 750 BC. This coincides with one of the periods of the Assyrian decline mentioned in last week's post. Jonah's home, the origin, was Gath-Hepher, also gives us a clue about his lineage. Gath-Hepher was a town in the region that was given to the tribe of Zebulun during the conquest. It is very likely then that Jonah was of the tribe of Zebulun. Micah was from the tribe of Judah. Micah was from the tribe of Judah. Let's see. Nahum was from the tribe of Simeon. Nahum was from the tribe of Simeon. They mentioned Elkosh as his homeland and was from the tribe. That was where the tribe of Simeon dwelled, in that area. I'm not going to read all this because it's a lot. Habakkuk was from the tribe of Yehudah. And Zephaniah also was from the tribe. Now listen to how crazy this is. They call Zephaniah the black prophet. They call him the black prophet, Zephaniah 1:1. They said because he was the son of Cushi, and they said Cushi means black, that he has to be a black prophet. Now, how in the world could he be black and they all from the same family? And just because his father's name was, he was the son of Cushi, he's the only one that's black. I'm just saying how when you come up on this stuff here, it says Zephaniah's father named Cushi, and Cushi is used here as an adjective that means black in both Hebrew and Greek. Cushi was used as an affectionate term for a black person and simply referred to one of African descent. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, maybe she. Haggai was from Yehudah. He was from the tribe of Yehudah. Zachariah was from the Levi tribe. So he was in that same period with Ezekiel and Jeremiah, with the fall of Jerusalem and all that during the Babylonian exile. Malachi also was a Levite. And the reason why I put this information in here is because when we listen to these pastors, these Christian pastors, they always reach back into these books of these prophets to give an analogy of what they're preaching or give history of what they're preaching of the people that belong to the Hebrew Israelites. So when we walk down through these scriptures and prove that Christ was a Hebrew Israelite, I wonder if they're going to have trouble getting it. And this is just from a historical standpoint. Okay, so now we're going to go into the national protocol, because a lot of people say nationality doesn't matter. And I hear them on YouTube all the time saying that black Hebrew Israelites deal with nationality. They say nationality doesn't matter. Well, let's see if that's true. It says we have first place in the salvation protocol. Our nationality and identity is necessary to understand how to maneuver in first place. Matthew 15:21. It says, Then Yahushua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out at the same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cry after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent. Now listen to what he says. I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, Truth, Lord. Yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from the master's table. Then Yahushua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Now here is the protocol that says we go first. Romans chapter 1, verse 16. It says, For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of Yah unto salvation to everyone that believeth. So we know it goes to everybody. But here's the protocol. To the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed from faith to faith. As it is written, the just shall live by faith. Now, I have a question for you. If that is the case, and the protocol is to us first, how important is it for us to know who we are and know our nationality and know our Elohim?
It's extremely important because it was given to the Jew first.
Exactly. And when I mean important, I mean in order for us to be able to lead first, we have to know who we are and what we're doing. Right? Because for many years, we have been given an example of what spirituality is that has absolutely nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelite. So when we come and we say we are Hebrew Israelites, and it is very important for us to know our nationality, our ethnicity, and how we are to serve our Elohim, that is extremely important. Because if we don't know how to do it, they can't do it before us. There's no way that the world can do it before us if we don't get it right first. So my question is, why is this so difficult for them to understand? Because they read Romans just like we do. But they're quick to say that, nationality doesn't mean anything and it doesn't have nothing to do with salvation. It has everything to do with salvation.
Well, I think that they're trying to make it a racist thing because they've never viewed Jews as being black, and which is one reason they call us black Israelites. It's like they cannot comprehend that blacks could be the chosen people. So that's how they use that whole narrative of black Israelites to segment us into being isolation, that we are the chosen people. And they know the scriptures, but they can't fathom that it was given to the Jew first, and the Jew, him and herself, are black people. That's where the problem is with these Gentiles and heathens.
So then it's not us that's exhibiting the racism, it's them.
Absolutely.
Because they blame it on us like, oh, you guys are just racist. I really can't get with that because it makes God seem like he's a racist. No, he set a protocol in place.
And Sister Yaina, they had no problem. They have no problem with giving money to the other people who say they are Jews and saying that they are the chosen people, nor do they say it's racist when they're referring to the other people, saying that they are chosen people. It's only when we say it that they have an issue with it.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. But like I said about Zephaniah, Zephaniah, how, because he was the son of Cushi, we're supposed to have one black prophet among all of them. The rest of them are supposed to be what color? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're talking about the father of 12 boys. And it's, like you said, it's difficult for them to grasp because it just can't be us. But the protocol is it goes to the Jew first and then unto the Greek. I'm going to give you another. For example,
from their perspective, then where would the so-called African Americans be in that anyway? I mean, it's almost like we're so far out of that from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't even rate, because they gave us an identity. We're African Americans, but nobody can identify Africa where we came from. But now that we know who we are, because it's clear that they know, because I just read from the Gospel Coalition, they know the foundation of what we believe. They know the transatlantic slave trade history. They know the scriptures that identify with us. They know all of the things that they need to know. They just don't want it to be. And these are black people. I'm not even talking about the white evangelicals. I'm talking about the black people. They're the ones that just refuse to believe it.
If you really don't believe that, if you really believe that you're Gentile black people in the church, then again, you're just glad to get in to cleave to the Jews and the Greeks.
So you're saying that's what they believe?
Yeah, they don't see us in there. They don't see African Americans as Israelites. They don't see us as Jews. Then you're not in any of this. You're just glad you're third or worse. You never follow us, which is the Catholic Church, the universal Catholic Church, in all of its divisions.
And they do have that mentality. We're Gentiles. But you know what's so funny is, though, when you push them on this, you know what they say out of their own mouth? Well, you all are the ones that denied him in the first place. Black people say this. Well, you all denied him in the first place. So they know. If you really push the issue, they know. And they'll tell you in a minute, you're the ones that denied him in the first place. So don't get mad because we now have a chance. And you looking at them like, huh? It's a possibility that you could be one of us. But again, that has to be revealed. But let me go to Isaiah 49 to watch what he says. He says, "Listen, O isle, unto me, and hearken, ye people from far. The Most High has called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother has he made mention of my name. And he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hands has he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver hath he hid me. And said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I am labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with the Most High, and my work with my Elohim. And now, saith the Most High that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him, through Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorified in the eyes of the Most High, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, It is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. Watch what he says. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentile, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. So there's the protocol again. We have to go first. We have to be a light unto the Gentile. We have to give them the information that they need for salvation. And the question is now, why is it so difficult for them to accept the fact that we're doing this? Even when you look at the people who are professing to be us, they don't give them any information. Nothing comes from those people. So if we're supposed to be the light, and they're supposed to be the people, how come they're not giving them the information necessary to be able to understand what salvation is? That's a question.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
Because they're not the true us.
They're not the true us. They're not the true us. And that should be a telltale sign right there. They're not the true us. So when we step out there and we tell them we're the Israelites, this is the gathering of the black Hebrew Israelite people, because this is what we were commanded to do, is to first identify who we were. We have to identify who we are. We have to understand what happened to us. We have to get to know our Elohim from a Hebrew Israelite perspective. And then once we do that, we have to gather ourselves. Those are the things that we're doing right now that the whole world is in an uproar about. And you can't have one without the other. We have to be able to understand who we are and understand our Elohim before we can even introduce him to the Gentile. Because the information that we learned in the organized religion was completely different. He wasn't even recognized in the church.
The veil was over our eyes.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, the veil was over our eyes, so we didn't see who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, the veil was over our eyes and we didn't see who we are. But now that we do, because again, this is something that has to be revealed unto us, and now that we do, we're doing what we were supposed to do by sounding the alarm. And it's making a lot of people uncomfortable. And in other words, the thing has been switched around, and now the Gentile is trying to teach us. The protocol is backwards. And as a result of the protocol being out of place, and there's really no one in first place, from an organized religion standpoint, we have been receiving the false information that we have been receiving. I hope who the person was that had an issue with this is on this line today.
And Sister Yaina, they know the truth that that the Jew is first and it has to come through us first. They know that, and that's why they call themselves spiritual Israel, because they know it has to come through Israel. And so they've kind of flipped the script on us to say, well, we're now spiritual Israel. So they feel that gives them the right to present the true gospel.
But they can't be the Israel and the spiritual Israel and the Gentile at the same time. That goes against protocol. There's no such thing. How can you be Israel and a Gentile at the same time when there's clearly, the Most High has clearly made a difference between one and the other?
But that's how messed up the whole Christian religion is.
It is. And when you look at it, there's no one in first place right now. There's not. Not from a religious standpoint, it's not. There's no one in first place. There is no Jew nation in first place right now, because we're supposed to be showing them about our Elohim for them to understand how he wants things done. But in return, they've been showing us.
And if the Israelites are a light to the Gentiles, I was just thinking about what the sister was just saying. If we're a light to the Gentiles, whoever they believe that to be, they're not in first place anymore.
No.
It seems like by saying they're spiritual Israel, they want to keep that first place.
Of course, to control the narrative so that you learn from them whatever it is that they need to, that they're trying to teach you. But now that he has begun to awaken the true Israel, for Israel to understand who we are, why we're in the condition that we're in, what happened to us, to get to know our Elohim so that we can gather ourselves, now it has become an issue for the ones who claim to be Jewish. Now all of a sudden, no, they're fake, they're not real. But nobody's in first place, because if they were, they would be explaining to them what is necessary for salvation. This is salvation here. He said, read it again. He said, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentile, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. And it brings me back. Lady I spoke to one day that she told me, well, I was listening to IUIC and I understand the whole Hebrew Israelite thing, but you get salvation from the church. No, ma'am, no, sir. You can't provide it. That goes against protocol completely. It goes against it completely. There's nothing that you can get from them, because they have to get it from us. Because guess what? He's our Elohim.
Didn't the Messiah himself say that? He said it himself. That salvation is of the Jews. He said it.
Salvation is of the Jews. Yes, he did. He said that. Salvation is of the Jews. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did. But they read it, and again, it's being switched around, because now you have the Gentile teaching the Jew, and that's not how it was ever supposed to be. He never meant that for it to be that way. Isaiah chapter 56. It says, thus saith the Most High, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on this, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Now this right here is going to bless, because this came up not too long ago about, the sister was telling me about her nephew who thought that he was Israel and found out he wasn't. Or the one sister who has children that are not Israel. Listen to what the Most High says about this. Watch what he says. Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Most High speak, saying, Most High has utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree. Watch what he says. He says, For thus saith the Most High unto the eunuch, that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Watch what he says. Even unto them will I give in mine house, and within my walls a place, and a name better than the sons of and of daughters. And I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. So he's telling the eunuch, if you keep my commandments and the things that I tell you to do, I have a place for you. Watch what he says. Also the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Most High, to serve him and to love the name of the Most High, to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant. Watch what he says. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joy in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar, for mine house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. Did you get that? Did y'all get that? The ones who have children that may not be Israel, the ones that have family members that may not be, he said, if the sons of the strangers and the eunuchs, if they keep the commandments and they do those things which are pleasing to the Most High, they will be accepted. That was a big controversy here not too long ago. The Most High Elohim, which gathereth the outcast of Israel, saith, Yet will I gather others to him besides those that are gathered unto him. Now, it says, we see that the plan of redemption is not just limited to the Jewish people or to Israel, which we know that's us. Instead, it starts in Jerusalem and expands outwards to others who keep his Sabbath and keep their hand from evil. Any questions?
The word said it all.
It said it all. So train your children up the way that they are supposed to do, and let them know that it is important for them to keep y'all's Sabbath days and keep themselves spotted from evil and do those things that delight in him. And he said, I got a place for them. But again, this has to be taught from us. This has to be given from us. This has to be, and like so right now, it's off balance because it's being taught by the wrong people. And we've been given the wrong information. And there's a national protocol that is necessarily put in place by the Most High that salvation is of the Jews. And Paul said it best in Romans, it is to the Jew first and then to the Greek.
Yep.
This is why we're off balance. This is why there's so much confusion and strife when we start talking. Because what we're doing is putting in the right place. We're stepping back in first place like we're supposed to be. Because nobody's been in that position that was qualified to be there. This is so crucial because it's important to be in your place so that things can flow the way the Most High wants it to flow. And when you're out of place, everything's off sync. It's out of sync. And the people who are supposed to be us don't even bother with it because they can't.
When you present the truth to them, a lot of people, they reject it, because they were taught with pure lies,
Yes. They can't even, they wouldn't be able to accept it anyway because they can't explain it. Not from using this Bible right here, they can't explain it. Because there would be so many questions that would come up that would be unanswered, that they would not be able to answer because they cannot identify themselves in this book. But guess who can? We can. All day. We can walk through it from Genesis all the way through Revelation. We can identify ourselves. We know our history now.
Oh, yeah.
We know what happened. We know why we're sitting here. We know who our Elohim is. We know why he did this to us. We know who and why we're in this condition that we're in right now.
You just have to accept it, and then turn back to him and seek him 10 times more.
Absolutely. Because nobody was in first place. There's a protocol. It is to the Jew first and then to the Greek. And nobody stepped up to first place but the Gentile. And that was completely out of order. They were never supposed to teach us about our own Elohim. That's why it's off kilter. That's why it's not measuring up. And that's why there is no power. Nobody can go before us. We have to go first. I know that's a hard pill to swallow. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's just the way he got it set up. That is why we tell most of you all who are on this line that are still our family members, that are still in church, that we cannot go back into those buildings and worship under those conditions because you are not worshiping the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because the protocol is not there. It's off balance.
Somebody sleeping?
Not to mention they're not worshiping on the Sabbath.
None of it. All of it is off balance. It's not just the Sabbath. Yeah. All of it is off balance.
Absolutely.
All of it. Because anytime the student is teaching the teacher, there's a problem. It's like you walking into a room of educated professors with tenure, and you're going to teach them the rules and the information about what it means to be in a position of high authority. And you're just a person off the street. There's no way you could do that. That's like being a marriage counselor and you've never been married.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you can do that. And that's what's happened. We were supposed to take first place. That's why every prophet in the Old Testament is an Israelite. All the disciples were Hebrew Israelites. Paul was a Hebrew Israelite. Any questions, comments? Anybody would like to share, expand on some of this? All of this is out of order. All of it is off kilter. All of it is off balance. Because now you have Israelites believing that they're Gentiles, teaching the story from a Gentile perspective when it was never meant to be that way. It had to come from us because it is to the Jew first. We are in first place.
Well, they all have to understand the first thing we were called Gentiles because we were doing the things that they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is why there's so much of a problem. Because now that we're waking up, we're moving into position. We're moving into first place. Fighting place that was never theirs. That was never theirs. Everything has to be led by us. Everything has to be managed by us. That's why he put Paul in charge. That's why Paul was the overseer, because he was a Hebrew Israelite. Why? It's real simple.
Yeah, and I'm also remembering a story. I think in the books of Acts 10, where the Syrian soldier had to go to Peter to get the instructions, who Peter was an Israelite. So that kind of confirms it again.
Absolutely about that. Absolutely. He had to go meet Peter. Yeah, absolutely he did. Yes, he did. There's a protocol and an order. And you're not going to change y'all's order. I don't care how much it looks like that this has been around a lot longer and the black church has been around forever and it's an instant. It does not matter. If you do not know who you are and you're believing that you're a Gentile and you're not an Israelite, you are out of order. Because there's a protocol. And it's a nationality protocol. Yes, sir. It's a nationality protocol that in order for you to get it, you got to be able to do what? You got to be able to receive salvation. He told us we was the light unto what? Unto the Gentiles. Did he do that? He said, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentile, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. And everybody is struggling trying to make us become obsolete when they don't realize without us there is no salvation. That's crucial, y'all. That means for the last 50, 60, 100, 200 years, people have been doing things for nothing. For nothing.
And also, the church also teaches that the Jews are done away with, that we don't matter, period, any longer. And that's not true either, according to the scriptures.
They won't survive without us. They won't even receive. They can't get it.
And for the people professing to be us, they've made it a religion and moved the needle away from the nationality.
completely. And they went on about their business. Wait a minute, watch. They went on about their business, establishing the land and doing their own thing and saying the heck with everybody else. Because they can't identify. They left it in the hands of the Gentiles. And the Gentiles gladly took it over and made it be what they wanted it to be. And this is where we sit today. We sit in a place that does not have the information necessary for salvation. Mm-hmm. It's crucial. It's crucial. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is something so serious. This nationality protocol is so, he set this in place. This wasn't us. This was him. This was him. This was his doing. This was all him.
We were all punished for disobedience, you know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Crucial. And now you know that the things that we have been learning has been off kilter because it had to be. There was no way for it to be anything else but.
You were like a train that derailed off the track, you know.
Off the track, sure did. And nobody wants to accept the fact that that's what it was. Nobody wants to accept it. Here we go. Check this out. We're going to read it from right here from the scriptures. John chapter 4. Verse 6. It says, Now Jacob's well was there. Yehudah therefore being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Being wearied, Yehudah said unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Yehudah answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of Yah, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yehudah answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him as a well of water, springing up into everlasting life. Then the woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yehudah said unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yehudah said unto her, Thou hast said well, thou hast no husband. But thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that sayest thou truly. The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worship in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men are to worship. Yehudah Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor at Jerusalem worship the Father. For ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jew. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Yahushua said unto her, I that speaketh unto thee am he. So he said that salvation is of the Jews. So if that's the case, if salvation is of the Jews, is it possible for us to receive salvation from this church system that we have set up today?
Absolutely not.
Not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk to this in the Sunday churches.
Absolutely not. No. You can't do it. There's no way for you to do it. No way. It's just not possible. No way. So if that's the case, then everything that we've learned from the speaking in tongues to the shouting to the baptism and all of the things that we have gotten from them has been out of order.
And there can't be a replacement of the Jews. Salvation is of the Jews.
Of the Jews. And if there is any salvation to get, it has to come from us. And in order for it to come to us, from us, we have to be in place. And in order for us to be in place, we have to identify with our nationality. Because to be a Jew is a nationality.
Yeah, it didn't say salvation of the spiritual Jews.
No.
Or the spiritual Israelites.
And to be a Jew is a nationality. It can't be hard to figure out. It's simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. But because the deception has been so strong, and people have so read over the things that need to be read again, they have totally dismissed the fact that there is a protocol. Now, they will reach back into the Old Testament and pull the scripture, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. And they can do all the theatrics and the semantics to get to whatever the crescendo of their sermon that they're giving on Sunday morning, but everything is out of order because there's a nationality protocol. And until it's in place, you won't even know what true salvation is. No way to know. And a lot of us coming out of the church so want to hold on to something, we be like, well, we had to get something out of there. I mean, I felt like I did receive something from there, not pertaining to salvation, you didn't. Has to come from us. If this word be true, it has to come from us. And this is where the problem lies today. This is why they can't accept the fact. Because the Gentile or the system does not want to give up the right to have the control over the narrative. They don't want to give up the right to have the power over salvation. They don't want to give up the right for the control that they have over the people's mind, making them believe they have the answer when it has to come from us. This was never going to work. And that's why it was important for him to wake us up, because everything has to be put right in right position for us to be able to move forward. Because we would have forever been in this position, stagnated. Wondering what it is I'm not doing right. I've done everything I was supposed to do, and things still hasn't changed like it's supposed to be. It's out of order. That's why when we go through the lesson and talk about how Christ was an Israelite, it sets everything in place. Because he had to be an Israelite in order to lead the mission. He had to be. And like we said a couple weeks ago, it all started in the heavenlies because the Israelites didn't just exist. We didn't just come about as being called Israelites. Those 12 tribes are a part of that new city that's coming down, and there's only 12 gates. And each one of them represented one of the 12 tribes of Israel.
But even that, the Gentile changed into one big pearly gate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did they really?
Yeah. One gate. I think Peter is supposed to be there at the gate. Everybody's in line waiting.
Oh, yeah. Right. Change the whole story around. Right. Yeah, that's true. If you believe the hype. That's why you have to be able to study. Because you should be able to lay this out. There is a nationality order. It's a protocol that he put in place. He chose us to be his people. We are the lot of his inheritance, and we are the ones to lead the charge of salvation. It cannot be received or attained until after we come into the information that we need to in order to move forward. So for all of you all that are still going to church, that's giving your money and doing all that stuff, you are doing that amiss. There's nothing coming from it. I hate to tell you.
And we had to wake up to get back into place, according to Baruch. We in captivity. He said we should remember ourselves. So
Yeah.
Here we are. We're waking up to be back in place.
Have to take place. We have to take our place. That's the only way we can move the board forward. That's the only thing that's going to move the pendulum forward. We have to be in the right place. Now the clock can move because now we're all beginning to wake up the ones that he is charging us to have this awakening right now. The clock is moving forward. The hand was stuck. But guess what? What we were receiving before appeared to be so real, and it appeared to be so spiritual, and it appeared to be so enlightening and so emotional that we just refused to believe that thing wasn't real. But we see now that there's a protocol, and until the protocol is in place, you've been receiving something that's been ungodly. And that's why everything's done on different days, different things, no Sabbath days, because he just told you how important the Sabbath is to him. He even said, the sons of the stranger, if you understand how important my Sabbaths are not to pollute it, and if you understand how to keep your hand away from evil, I'll find a place for you. Got a whole church that don't even keep the Sabbath. They don't keep the high holy days. They don't do any of it. Why? Because the people that are leading it are out of place.
They worship, they know not what, as chapter 4, verse 22 says.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. So here we come now waking up, and all of a sudden, we Sabbath keepers. Oh, no, I can't work today. I got to keep the Sabbath. You shocking the whole system. What you mean you can't work on Saturdays? Everybody work on Saturdays. That's our highest volume day. You mean you can't? I'm sorry, but I can't work on Saturday. What? Why? because we're trying to put everything in right place. Now, will we be able to continue to lead the world into the terms of the Sabbath? No, because guess what? The world going to keep on twirling. It's going to keep on whirling and twirling along. However, the Israelites are mandated to gather ourselves together, come into the knowledge of who we are, understand what we did, understand who our Elohim is, and to gather ourselves. And that's what's going on right now. So I hope for the person who asked me that question, you got a clear understanding of what's happening right now. You cannot get salvation from the Christian church. There is no way possible.
There is no house built without a foundation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everybody wants to include themselves in it. They want a spirit of inclusion. Well, what about us? Well, that sounds really racist, or that sounds really separatist, like the Most High has a special people he does. He chose us to be his people. It doesn't matter where we are, whether we're in captivity or that we are the lowest man on the totem pole. He chose us to be his people. And he has to put us in that place again.
Sure do.
You know, serious business. Serious business that we have to be able to understand this whole system. You know? It's really serious. I mean, it's something that we have to be able to understand what it is and what's happening and why it's not working, because why we're having so many problems waking up. It has nothing to do. Well, it does. It has to do with the people who are professing to be us, because they can't step in first place. They can't do it. Not right now. They have nothing to offer the people. There's no salvation that they can offer. They're all over the place. There's no temple. There's no anything. There's nothing substantial for them to offer anyone, because they can't. We can't right now, because all we can do is invite them to come to get to know our Elohim, because we don't even know him yet. Now, there's going to come a time when we will be able to offer salvation and what salvation is. But right now, we have to get to know ourselves and him. And I thought I was saved. You couldn't have told me I wasn't saved. Saved, sanctified, and filled up with the tongue-talking Holy Ghost. Dotting the I's and crossing all my T's. I just knew I was saved. And I told you, every time I would stand up flat-footed and tell the Most High out of my mouth, I love you so much, Jesus. It was like a voice. I could hear it in my mind. He said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And it just baffled me every time I heard it. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And believe me, I was doing everything that I thought I was supposed to be doing. I just now understand why.
Sister Yanya, how did we come to discount that when we know that Yahushua said, if you love me, you keep my commandments, and we know good and well that the fourth commandment is to keep the Sabbath? How did we come as Christians to overlook that? I'm just kind of wondering how we didn't know that.
it was a situation where we were blindsided, and we were told something consistently to make us overlook it. They would preach stuff like every day is the Sabbath. You love the Lord, you can praise Him every day. Every day is His Sabbath. Monday is His Sabbath. Tuesday is His Sabbath. Wednesday is His Sabbath. We worship Him on Monday, Tuesday. That's irrelevant. He gave us a specific protocol, and this is what He meant for us to do. And nobody gets to alter it. I don't care who it is. But because we believed in those people, we discarded it. We accepted that as truth. We accepted that as truth.
Well, they taught that the laws were done away with and that they were nailed to the cross, all of them. So that's another reason how we got there. And we're saved by grace.
That's what we were taught.
And none of it was a statement of truth, but it wasn't truly stated because they were not in first place, and they were never supposed to be the ones to teach us anything. But because of where He put us in the captivity that we were in, it was necessary for us to go into those religious institutions, because in order for you to understand the truth, you have to understand deception. So now we know the difference between the two. He took us in only to bring us out, to open up our eyes so we could see the difference. And now our family members look at us like, well, what's wrong with you? Why you don't go to church? You don't go to church? You don't worship Jesus? Oh, Lord, something is truly wrong with you. That must be a cult or something. You don't even want to worship Jesus? Do you still believe? Woo! And we looking at them like, if you only knew, if this is something, when He finally opens your eyes, you will be in for the biggest awakening of your life.
You're like, wow.
You better, I'm still saying that, Sister Sanaya, after all these years, I'm still sitting back and wow.
Yeah. And the best news you ever heard.
Yeah. It's crucial. But you can't talk. You talk about Jesus now. You can do it. Don't talk about Jesus. Jesus is the best thing. Oh, they just go on and on and on. You know? And when you listen to the music, it's so convincing. It's so dramatic. It's so alluring and convincing.
And emotional.
And emotional that people believe they have made it to the third heaven. Oh, worship service. Beautiful.
There's a reason they have the choir sing before they take the offering.
Yeah. People can throw it on you to the point where you be like, oh my gosh, here, take all my money. If I could get you some more, I would, because we got to get this thing rolling. It does. But that's not what He requires. He requires obedience is better than sacrifice.
True.
And there was no one in first place. There was no one there. So this, to the person that brought this to me, I hope that this has been a clarification of some things. And next week when we do this over, I'm going to show you where the Hebrew came from the lineage of Shem. I'm going to show you who Eber was. I'm going to show you who Abraham was as a nationality. I'm going to show you how we became the children of Israel through the 12 tribes. And then I am going to prove to you that the Messiah was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Yehudah or Judah. He was actually a descendant of the royal house of King David. I'm going to show you that. That's something that we have to be able to understand. And when you ask the pastors that, because I've heard IUIC do it several times, was Jesus a Hebrew Israelite? The pastor walks away. They don't even answer the question. They walk away. Because they know. He came from a Hebrew Israelite woman. He came from a Hebrew Israelite womb. He grew up in a Hebrew Israelite family, and he served the Hebrew Israelite culture and traditions. He did those things. And as far as nationality, he was a Hebrew Israelite. And this is what this is all about. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to add any more to it? Because it's good to have different perspectives and to add different comments in there. It's so different to be able to do that. I'm gonna put the screen on pause, and then I'm going to open up the mics for the people who called in late that I have to, or who may have dropped off, that their mics were muted. I'm gonna get your mics open now. Hold on just a second. Because there's some people that wanted to say something. Okay, so your mics are open and you're on the air. Anybody have a comment?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's an awesome class. I'm glad you covered the subject. When people are out in the church and we have to always remember that he said, don't take the broad path, take the narrow. Mm-hmm. It's not what everybody else is doing. It's something apart from that. And I'm just excited to hear the results of today.
All right, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Anybody else? I opened up some mics to a few people's mics. If you guys have a comment, now is the time to do it. If you have something you want to share, the mics are open for you to do that.
Okay, I want to just say that I enjoyed the class immensely, and I'm glad you did cover the subject. So again, thanks a lot.
Oh, no problem at all. Definitely. These are the things that a lot of, we don't really cover a lot because we feel like everybody knows it, but they don't. They don't even understand what Hebrew means. That Hebrew was a nationality. They don't understand those things. So when they call us the black Hebrew Israelites, you're absolutely correct. We are. We the BA guys. We the black Hebrew Israelites. And there's no white Hebrew Israelites. Ain't no such thing.
Sister Yaina.
Yes, sir.
My mother and I were talking earlier today, and we were wondering we were just wondering what event would happen to make the sojourners sojourn with us, especially by the way we're looked at now. And we were trying to figure it out, but you just answered it about salvation.
Yeah.
You answered what we couldn't figure it out. We were wondering though, and then when I come in and log in to the lesson, lo and behold, you answered the question. Yeah. So now I can go back and tell my mom how that can be. Thanks.
Oh, praise God. Yes, you're right, because we have the salvation. We have the answer. And I wonder how long it's going to take for them to realize that what they have been doing just ain't working.
Well, and also again, in the future, they're going to cleave to us again,
yeah.
and bring us to our place. Because they know we have the salvation.
Because you say that again. Because of the salvation. Salvation is of the Jew. He said, I also will give thee for a light to the Gentile, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. You know, we got to be able to tell him this is how he wants it done. And this is why I said the other day that it is important to understand just how far we go in this captivity. Because we still in this captivity. We still have a captive mind. We still have resentment. We still have hatred. We still have, what is the word I want to use? Envy. We still are jealous. We got all kind of stuff that's dwelling in us because of this captivity. And it is going to take him to move us from this captivity, release us from the things that we have been taught in order for us to do something different. And once he removes us from this captivity and takes us to another place, then he said, you will look and remember the things that you have done, and you will abhor yourself. So there has to be a transformation of the mind. But you won't forget the things that you've done. You won't forget them. Because in order for you to understand, what we did in this captivity, he said, I'm going to make you remember. When you look back and remember and think about the things that you did, you will, what's the word that he used? Did he use abhor? What is the word that he used? You will loathe yourselves. That's what he said. You will loathe yourselves. But we have to get to that point before we can leave, because we have to have a change of mentality. Our minds have to change. We're doing okay now because we're gathering ourselves. But to really be able to show the Gentile what this thing is, our minds got to be changed.
I was going to say, the deception is great because, on the one hand, many Jewish people are taught not to look at the New Testament. And in the Christian world, don't look at the Old Testament. It's like it left a natural blind spot that you can't see.
Absolutely. Hidden in plain sight, right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been right there in front of you.
And someone corrected me, as I always refer to it as the Old and New Testament. And I was talking to someone last week, and he said, no, it's the original text. When you say Old Testament, that's not the Old Testament, it's the original text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's our role.
Down imagination.
Put your phone on mute.
Bringing it
every thought to salvation. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Having a readiness to revenge all disobedience.
It really is, and it's just something that we have to, come to terms with and understand that that's what it has to be, and that's what it is. It's our roadmap to salvation. It is our way. We're on our way to being in right standing with the Most High. That's what we are. We're on our way.
Well, it also says that the Gentiles will come from the ends of the earth, saying that their father, we have inherited lies.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that. Absolutely. And they have to come to that conclusion. They have to come to that conclusion. They have to come to that conclusion. Yes, indeed.
I'm looking at it right now, just like what you said, and things wherein there is no profit. There's nothing in that church system.
Nothing. All of it has been a waste of time. And that was the part that got to me the most. You know, it's like, wow. Wow. Let's see what we're going to do over here. We'll say, let's see. Let's do this. We're going to do this one right here. Let me go to this one. We are in Ezekiel chapter. Let me make sure we're in the right chapter so you can see it. We're in Ezekiel chapter 36, and we're at verse 16. Watch what he says. He says, moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelled in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and by their doing. Their way was before me as uncleanness of a removed woman. Wherefore I poured out my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries, according to their way, and according to their doing I judged them. And when they entered into the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name, when they said to them, These are the people of the Most High, and are gone forth out of his land. He said, these is the Israelites, and they done been kicked out of the land. But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen whither they went. Therefore says unto the house of Israel, Thus saith the Most High Elohim, I do not this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither you went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. He said, man, you ruined my name in front of the nations. And the heathen shall know that I am the Most High, saith the Most High Elohim, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. That means ain't going to be no more Christianity, ain't going to be no more holiness, ain't going to be no more Pentecostal, ain't going to be no more Church of God in Christ, it ain't going to be no more Seventh-day Adventists, no Jehovah's Witnesses, all that's over. None of that. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit, there go the transformation, will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart, there go that captive mind. He said, I'm going to remove that captive mind of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. I will also save you from all your uncleanness. And I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, and that ye shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Now watch what he says. He says, then shall ye remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations. Now for your sake do I this, saith the Most High Elohim, be it known unto you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, in that day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and the ways shall be built. So he said, I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to change your mind. I'm going to give you a new spirit and a new heart, and I'm going to also make you remember the things that you did. So I tell you, this is some serious stuff. We have to really be able to understand how far we can go. you know. And you know, there's nothing wrong with having leaders. If you guys feel like you got to have a camp or something, there ain't nothing wrong with that, but you got to really be careful because nobody mentally is stable enough to do it. Not in my opinion. We have things that we have to do before the whole world can be in place because right now the whole world is off course. Of course. Hard to hear. I know it's hard to hear. So, any questions at all?
Do you have access to read from Baruch? If you can read.
I can. What's Baruch what?
Baruch chapter 2, verse 27 to 32.
Hold on. Baruch chapter 2. Let me see. Let's see what we got. Hold on, I'm gonna bring it up here. Baruch chapter 2. All right, here we go. Yep, here we go. What is the verse?
27 to 32 is kind of similar to what you just read.
27 to 32. Okay. Here we go. It says, "Oh, our Elohim." Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh Yah, our Elohim, thou hast dealt with us after all goodness and according to all that great mercy of thine, as thou spakest by thy servant Moshe in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, If ye will not hear my voice, surely this great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a people. But in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Most High their Elohim. For I will give them a heart and an ear to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name. And then it says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the ways of their fathers, which stand before the Most High. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it. And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. There it is. These things.
That spoke to our transformation. That He would give us a heart and ears to hear. He did that.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes,
Hallelujah.
He did. Praise
And
the
also
Lord.
in the land of our captivity will we remember ourselves. And no other people that I can think of has remembered themselves while in captivity, but we have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes, hallelujah. That is true. That's verse number 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. And that is exactly what is happening today. That is. And it's shaking up the whole world. And in verse 31 says, and shall know that I am the Most High their Elohim, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. Yes. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name. And that's what we're doing right now.
Hallelujah.
So, we on the right, we're doing the right thing. We just got to stay in first place. And they would prefer that we not be there. And this is going to give them the necessary tools to get us out of here, because we are really causing a lot of problems. And on that note, I'm going to cut off the recording. You guys, we thank you for joining us in our class. We hope that you have learned something from this. We will continue this for next week. Please join us next Sabbath on the Sabbath day next week, and we will have part 2 of this. And we say shalom, shalom to everyone. Hold on.
Hallelujah.
Let me stop the recording.
Glory to you.